It's the last match of the day. It's going to be Chinese Taipei versus the USA. And this is the big one. Chinese Taipei, of course, home to the current Hearthstone World Champion, Tom 60229. USA, home to a couple of the players that many consider the best Hearthstone players in the world in Just Saiyan and Muzzy.
Yeah, and I would say probably America's one of the overall fan favourites of the tournament so far. They had maybe not the best performance in the last Global Games finals, but certainly the flashiest, all wearing, they're coming out in their flags and everything. It was pretty funny. But yeah, also just some of the best players. I think America feels like a weird region to me because I think it has some of the best players in the world, but it has the fewest of the best players in the world, if that makes sense.
And hey, we could end up with a Hearthstone World Championship rematch between Tom and Frozen. Frozen with Team USA.
That's true.
Let's take a look at the bracket to see how this group have been doing. Group D, I believe. Oh no, sorry, it's Group C. Yeah, there you go. Winner of this match.
You okay, Fal?
Yeah, I just had a moment. Had a moment.
You're allowed one. It's fine.
Got confused between Chinese Taipei and China. Chinese Taipei versus USA. Winner of which will be up against Singapore. Winner of that series will be going to BlizzCon. But for both of these teams that find themselves in the losers bracket, it's a long way to go to get to BlizzCon.
It is, and this is my my first losers bracket match that I've cast today because I've been doing the winners ones mainly, and it's completely different, right? You've got a winners one. There's some comfort there even when you go into that match that you're not out. Yep. But starting in the bottom of losers is not where you want to be, and now every single match for them is the do or die. You either win or you're out. That's easy as that.
Let's take a look at these 8 great players in both of these teams. For Chinese Taipei, it's Tom 60229, AHQ Shaxi, AHQ Roger, and Real versus the United States, Just Saiyan, Muzzy, Terrence M, and Frozen. And yeah, fan favorites, as you were saying before. I'm pretty sure almost everyone watching will recognize all of the names for Team USA.
And also caster favorites in the form of Chinese Taipei as well, because Frodan often talks about Tom. You know, he's been talking about Tom for years, which is now very understandable as world champion. Yep. But he talks about Roger a lot. He talks about Shaxi, saying they're extremely powerful players. And then when you put them all together in one team, well, it's not too much of a surprise to me that they've made it to top 16. And yep, just about in that corner over there is where BlizzCon's going to be.
Where is it?
No, not at all.
Oh.
I'm not even sure where that is.
Is it on that bridge?
I've been to BlizzCon, but I'm pretty sure I could not tell you. Like, I could tell you on a map where it is, but not by viewing it.
All right, well, yesterday in the community show, we said that this was going to be the match of the week. Chinese Taipei versus USA. As usual, we had everyone back home vote for who they thought would win.
I wonder.
Here's a reminder of the voting results, with the United States taking a 65% lead against Chinese Taipei. And again, it's no real surprise, as you were saying. The United States are by far the lead when it comes to bits. Obviously, they have the most fans out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder, viewers' votes, who's going to win? It's who do you want to win, I think, here, rather than any sort of hard analysis has gone into this from the Twitch chat viewers.
I'm sure they scoured the deck list in the few moments that they had and had a good think about things, simulated the ban strategies in their head and worked it all out properly.
As always.
Twitch chat always do stuff like that. Anyways, let's take a look at the picks and bans. Here's the exciting part of the broadcast. At least for me, I like to see what is going to get played and what isn't. With Warrior banned out straight away from the United States and Hunter banned out for Chinese Taipei. So Hunter, which is typically an anti-control deck, and the United States' control deck being banned out, definitely hints towards a strategy here.
It does, yeah, and then we see Double Mage picked up on both sides, Warlock picked up as well. But the biggest huzzah moment for me is Warriors are banned across the board. No more Odd Warriors today. We are done. I'm happy. I'm done. I can cast this series all day now. I don't care.
Tomorrow, Raven, there is a very real chance that we get a Benedictus Priest mirror.
I'm just not going to cast it. I'll swap in with Derek or you or whoever, and if not, someone can solo cast.
All right, that is good to know, Raven. Real team player here in the Hearthstone Global Games studio. Let's take a look at how these decks are falling into place, though. What are the matchups going to be? We're starting off today with AHQ Shaxi on the Odd Rogue versus Just Saiyan on the Token Druid. Now, Token Druid is sort of like the most anti-aggro, I think, of the Druid decks, and also of the aggressive decks, if you look at it that way. In my personal experience, I do tend to think that it's pretty favored against the Odd Rogue.
Yeah, I think, let me just double check. I'm pretty sure I know. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Maybe not, maybe not. So there isn't any Tar Creepers, which is something I'm actually a big fan of in Token Druid, that Zilay has been pushing quite a lot.
Instead of Spellstones.
Yeah, but the Spellstones do a very similar job to what a Tar Creeper does in general anyway, at least against Odrogue, where you want to kill that 3-drop, and the Spellstone can help a lot with that. But I do agree, I think you just play Token Druid differently. If you give yourself the opening to get the board, fantastic. Odrogue can't really battle for board when it's so wide. But if not, you still run things like Branching Paths, Spellstones, things that things that can gain you armor, or get rid of these minions that are the biggest problem. So I think it's a good matchup overall. Odrogue can still do crazy Odrogue things, but I feel like it's very hard to have a bad mulligan for Token Druid.
Yeah, and I mean, Token Druid's just gotten even better ever since with the addition of Saronite Chain Gangs. It's another good anti-aggro card. Strong Shell Scavengers are great for buffing up a Spreading Plague that gets played really early. There's a lot that this deck can do just to prevent the Rogue from ever going face. And actually, in this matchup, Spellstone looks more important than ever, because against a deck that runs Hench Clan Thug on 3, which you need to be dealing with as soon as possible, Spellstone nice and early is important. In fact, I was watching DreamHack, was Montreal the most recent one? DreamHack Montreal, and Dr. J was saying when he's playing a Druid against an Odrogue, if he's on the coin and he has Spellstone in hand, turn 1 is coin hero power. Turn 2 is hero power, because then on turn 3, you can hero power and play the upgraded Spellstone. Okay. And he thinks that's the most consistent way of dealing with a Hench Clan.
Respective of hand, though.
Of course,
I hope
of
so.
course.
He's like, he's got wild growth. Coin hero power.
Yeah, right.
Let's go.
Well, actually, I think he may have even said that was the case.
I'm going to have words with Jace.
I'm not completely sure. This is not a quote here.
Jace, I'm tweeting you after this match. We're kicking off the game, though, and wild growth is there. Spellstone is there. Let's find out how Mr. Saiyan does it.
This would be the hand that Dr. J was referring to. So yeah, we will see what Just Saiyan does.
Just anchoring.
I'm
just
sure
60229.
whatever
just winning.
Whatever Just Saiyan does, I'm sure it's going to be the correct play.
So it's a pretty good start here. Even Chain Gang into Soul of the Forest, if those minions survive, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, and that's pre-mulligan. Now there's double Spellstones. You don't have to armor up at all, just use 2. And the Hench Clan double SI, no coin, makes this hand a little bit slow, but Hench Clan pretty important. That is the keep for Shaxi.
No 1-drops found.
None will survive.
This is already scary for Shaxi.
Yeah, I agree. He wants to see a Diamol or something urgently. Okay, Vicious Fledgling. That's another 3-drop to follow up the Hench Clan with.
So slow.
Yeah.
Mainly because we can see the Spellstones. But when there's no 1-drop here, I imagine the United States are going to be pretty happy about this. They can just pass. Their opponent probably, well, almost certainly daggers next turn. Great. They pass. Well, they wild growth. And then they just coin nourish, and then they laugh all the way home. Depending on the next 2 draws, they might actually coin nourish for cards as well. Something I've seen a few players maybe make a slight misstep into is going Druid mode, or going full Druid, and coin nourish for crystals in Token Druid, and then they run out of cards. They actually don't draw UI. So then they're like, oh, well, all this mana sucks because I'm hero powering.
This definitely seems like the Druid deck in which you're more likely to draw with the Nourish, rather than top
100%,
Druid.
yeah, 100%.
However, obviously, if there's an Ultimate Infestation present in the hand, then you're just ramping up with everything you've got.
And this is savage. This could just be chain gang. Win, game, finished. Next, move on.
Game 2.
I've seen Odd Warriors consider whether to hero power on 2 longer than this game may last.
All right, Chinese Taipei going to go with the Vicious Fledgling rather than the Hench Clan Thug. I guess they're following the logic that if there is no removal found for this, then it's more likely to go out of control than the Hench Clan Thug. However, 1 Spellstone and 1 hero power is all it takes, whereas if they did play the Hench Clan Thug, it would have taken double Spellstone. So you could definitely debate that play for a bit.
Yeah, definitely not a choice. It's the least likely one to survive, but can potentially do the most like instant damage or instant threat, as you mentioned. I mean, you've got to look and think how bad coin, nourish, spellstone, tyrant. That is not a bad play.
It's looking good, but again, the problem is that then means ramping up with the Nourish. And again, there is the potential of not drawing any card draw after that and running out of stuff.
You do have a 4-4 and 4 chain gangs though.
That's true.
You know, they buy you a good amount of time. And look at this.
Fledgling gets to go face. Yeah, that was a great play from Shaxi.
So untargetable, stealth.
Oh!
I wonder whether Wind Fury was... I think that was too fast.
Nah, you always take the Wind Fury when you can, because so many of the outcomes after that are good. I mean, now it's just stealth, right? Stealth, next turn you get 2 hits, take attack from the first one, take stealth from the second one.
Right, I'm just saying the second it isn't stealth or untargetable, then things can start. You can just die.
Health is good too. As you said, untargetable is good. Divine Shield is fine. +1/+1 is okay. Honestly, a lot of the outcomes are just fine for Shaxi after Wind Fury.
If it was triple Wind Fury again. It's just Wind Fury, Wind Fury, Wind Fury for some reason.
It's definitely not how Discover works, right?
But what if it was?
If it was, then we'd probably have to start the game again because some sort of weird bug has occurred.
This is a problem now.
Saronite Coin Power of the Wild is okay. It's not ideal though. It does stop, in theory, it does stop the Fledgling from getting through to the face. Except it... Actually, yeah, it does.
It does.
I wonder...
Because there's no way of activating the Fast Max Slayer next turn, so what? We're looking at 1-drop SI7 Agent, Dagger, to deal with one, and then the Void Ripper doesn't deal with the second one. Nicely done, just saying. Never mind. Now the Fledgling can go
through,
face.
yeah. They do spend a lot getting through though, because it's Cold Blood, the minion they use dies, so Cold Blood into SI.
Yeah.
It's not fantastic, is it?
I think for the sake of keeping this Fledgling alive though, it's definitely worth it. If this Fledgling gets stealth again next turn, I don't know how Just Saying deals with it. So yeah, the SO7 plus the Dagger deals with one. The Cold-Blooded Void Ripper deals with the other. 6 damage goes face. Maybe 9 damage goes face.
Untargetable looks good to me.
They all look good. I think Untargetable is the best one though. As you say, it just prevents...
Swipe, Spellstone.
Anything, right? Ultimate Infestation, like, take your pick. Ooh, 3 bad outcomes. And now double Spellstone would be able to deal with it if Just Saying had the armor. I guess a Branching Paths now would be amazing.
I think he might have to Nourish for cards.
Oh, but do you just not die immediately after?
What is the Spellstone on now? How much more armor? 2? 2 more?
Yeah, it looks like 2. If it was 1, then he'd just Hero Power double Spellstone.
I think you have to draw. You need Plague. You need a way to kill this 3/6. You need stuff.
Giggling Inventor's a start, I guess. Chinese Taipei are probably... Yeah, they're running 2 copies of Blood Knight, though, so... Giggling Inventor doesn't feel that safe.
Still requires 2 attacks. Blood Knight is not Mossy Horror, so it doesn't just delete the minions off the board. But yeah, I think they had to do something. They need Plague. They need, you know, the Plague with Strong Shell. They need something. Whispering Woods, even, with Power of the Wild, just to get something done, a return swing. Because they're not dead yet. And Rogue often runs out. I mean, look at Chinese Taipei's play next turn. Great, Hench Clan Thug's a powerful card. But if your whole next turn is Hench Clan Thug Hero Power, then it's relatively slow in terms of turning up the heat if a Spreading Plague can be picked up. Even then, Giggling Inventor, Power of the Wild, that isn't a bad turn.
Oh, it's gained 3 still to upgrade, wow.
Right.
Not a single armor been gained by Just Saying this game.
Setting up Swipe.
Again, imagine if a Branching Paths was drawn last turn. Like, double armor, 1 Spellstone would have dealt with the Fledgling, the other Spellstone would have dealt with the SI7 Agent.
Whiffs again.
Yeah, none of these gain attack, and that would have been the vital one here.
Or stealth, even.
Yeah, it would have meant that Chinese Taipei wouldn't want to have attacked us again, but that's fine. Oh, youch.
Taking the 1-1.
I think I've ever seen Fledgling whiff so many times.
Oh, anytime I've played it.
Okay.
Yeah. I forgot Wind Fury was one that comes up. It took that long for me to get one. The Spellstone was very nice because it forces, or it feels like it forces Chinese Taipei to make this play, which trades, that's just 4 damage, and your opponent's on 12. That's a third of their life total. You force them not to push to you.
United States still not out of the woods just yet, though. That Fledgling is still alive. They may have to Spellstone and swipe it, but then the Hench Clan survives.
Yeah, I think they eat Giggling.
Oh, if there's a Blood Knight, though, then the game just ends. If there's a Valspine, then the game just ends.
Does it?
I believe so. Fledgling goes face twice, Hench Clan goes face. Squire and Dagger deals with one of the Anoitrons. Firefly Valspine deals with the other one. It's just lethal.
I think it's the play you make, though, right?
Actually, if he Powers of the Wild,
yeah,
it's not quite lethal. Okay, okay.
This is what I get for trusting you. I would have Giggly invented Power of the Wild.
Gotcha.
Or you could even invent a Hero Power the 1-1.
Yeah, yeah, even that works. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, personally, I would Power of the Wild because it puts more power onto the board to set up swipe, Spellstone, etc. But it's definitely a tough one. They've been pinned in here, and it was all a decision. It was Team America's choice.
It's still Power of the Wild still lethal. Because Valspine deals with one, the Squire and one of the attacks from the Fledgling deals with the other.
Right,
that would still be 10 damage to the face. Right. So he has to play the swipe Spellstone here. That's the best shot United States have got. And it looks like they survive another turn from it.
Which is very important. They can draw Malfurion, they can draw Branching Pass, anything to get them to a UI turn at this point.
8 damage available for Shaxi right now after the weapons attacked and buffed up the Hench Clan.
Everything to consider as well, these sources of one attack, like the Argent Squire then, like the Plant now, like greatly reduce the power of Giggling Inventor on any given turn.
But the more of them that Shaxi plays, the stronger Spreading Plague becomes.
It's true.
So getting that balance right.
I wonder whether you just pass. You do, right? If you pass, Plague comes down, you Valspine one, the Thug kills the other, and then you Hero Power and 1-1.
Same with Giggling, it's still just lethal.
Yeah. I think you Dagger pass this turn. It looks weird, but you do it.
Actually, Giggling Hero Power saves Cyan.
Does it?
If he's Giggling Hero Powers away the 1-1.
Right. Yep.
So maybe playing another minion is the better outcome for Shaxi then, because it's stronger against Giggling, but weaker against Plague.
Well, this is easily solved, isn't it? They only run 1 Giggling.
So you play around Plague, which would make this wrong?
I believe so. That isn't Plague, though.
So Giggling plus Power of the Wild is still going to be lethal.
It is, by looks things. Rough game there for United States, but again, I'll reiterate, they chose not to kill the bird.
Yeah.
They could have nourished and Spellstoned and put a 4-4 on the board in that turn.
Well, there you go. Blood Knight picked up.
Whatever.
None of this even matters. Blood Knight makes it very easy for Shaxi. Clears up everything. Goes face for a number greater than 2. And that's the first game of this vital elimination match between Chinese Taipei and United States, won by Chinese Taipei. This is not going to be an easy series for the United States, not at all.
Yeah, it's really an interesting one that I probably will end up speaking to Sayin or one of the Team USA guys on that turn, because I view that matchup in a very straightforward fashion. The longer it goes on, the better it is for me as the Druid.
Right.
So if you ramp, yes, I brought the point up myself. You normally draw a lot of the time because if you've got no UI, that's a problem. But if you ramp, play a 4-4, and kill the only real threat on the board, to me, you're normally in a decent spot. They didn't do that, and they went, and because you've got the chain gangs, so you had like 2 chain gang follow-ups as well.
Yep.
So I thought that would be enough to bridge the gap. Obviously, Team USA disagreed. It ended up causing them some trouble because the bird did get Wind Fury, so it's a little bit dicey for them there. But they did take the loss, and as you said, this is an important series. They lose this, and they're out.
Coming up next, though, it's going to be Chinese Taipei on the aggro mage. Tom60229 versus not Frozen, but Muzzy. Unfortunately, we don't get the Hearthstone World Championship rematch.
Close, though.
But Muzzy, yeah, Muzzy on the Death Rattle Hunter, which, okay, Chinese Taipei took game number 1. I'd have to say, I would definitely call the aggro mage the favorite here as well. It's just very difficult for the Death Rattle Hunter to survive against an early onslaught of Mana Worms. Sorcerer's Apprentice specifically, if that gets slammed on 2, the Hunter doesn't actually have a way of removing it.
Yeah, there are certain things, you can still Hunter's Mark with the candle shot.
Oh, sure.
Which is important.
That's
but
really annoying.
one of the key interactions that can happen, one, if your opponent gets Mana Worms, yeah, you're probably dead, like most other decks. Like, you probably just die. But one of the key ones is the Anomaly versus Flanking Strike, for example. Like, that is such a key interaction, and if there's a counter spell to guard it, then that's big. If there isn't, that's also big. Because the mage has spent 4 mana doing nothing, I'll say, just making a minion if they play it on curve, and it's answered by a 3/3, and Hunter's lost nothing. There are certain things that you can win the game, but it does require more on the mage not having the best opening hand.
And that's the thing. That's the area in which aggro mage really thrives nowadays. It's getting that minion-based start. Mana Worm into Sorcerer's Apprentice, into Luna, into Anomaly is just unbeatable.
There were some power plays as well. Like the Shooting Star, along with Anomaly, is huge. Deals 3 to 3 minions. It's just for 1 mana. It's insane. But yeah, a lot of it does require, rely on the opening, though. The second they miss the step on the opening, then it is a bit of a problem. What's your build? Chinese Taipei.
Vitally, as well, United States aren't running any weapon removal in their Hunter, which means a Luneth has the ability to go out of control. But as we see, Tom60229 has picked up Mana Worm and Kirin Mage in his opening hand. So he's throwing away that Cinderstorm. Maybe he's throwing away that Kirin Mage as well in favor of trying to find a 2-drop, an Archaeologist or a Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I'd keep Kirin.
But yeah, if it goes off, it's insane. And the sooner it goes off, the better. Even when the Explosive Runes hits an egg, it's not the end of the world, because you kind of would like to kill the egg anyway to prevent play dead Terrascale things from happening.
And just to know as well on the Chinese Taipei list, they are running, because there's a floating spot in aggro mage that's normally reserved for a 2-drop. I like Apex Void style of, or at least his older one, of Mana Addict.
I like Mana Addict.
A lot of people play Blood Mage Thalnos. Chinese Taipei are using a Celestial Emissary, which I can also get behind. It's +2 spell damage on your next spell cast this turn, in case you don't know what that card does. So that spot really is just a complete personal preference, as far as I follow, because all the cards kind of do the same thing.
Some players have been running Flame Geist though. A few weeks ago. That's a card that saw a lot of play in that spot too. Personally, I also like the Mana Addict. That is my card of choice in that slot. It's almost like a 3rd Mana Worm that can just win the game in 1 turn.
Hello, Spellbender.
Yeah, it prevents a play dead. It prevents a flanking strike. It's very powerful indeed.
I will say this list from Muzzy does have a slightly better matchups overall versus even this opening because of those double Sirenite chain gangs. One, it's drawn them, and 2, it has them in the deck, because a lot of Hunter decks don't.
But again, with no ooze, once a Luneth gets drawn, it's very difficult for the United States to stabilize against that or prevent that onslaught of damage.
I actually feel they've won by then most of the time.
Maybe.
By turn 6 or 7, Hunter's either got stuff on the board or it hasn't.
Yeah, sure.
And if it's not, well, okay, enjoy the game, you're dead.
Yeah.
But if it has, you normally outrace even a mage sometimes.
This game is so vital for the United States, though. They started their run in the Hearthstone Global Games by losing the first 2 series. They then came back, won 4 in a row, and then lost their first game in the group stage. If they lose this series, it is all over for them.
But it looks like Tom is going to just trade away and just say, you know what, you got me, Spiderbot, you got me.
But then this turn gets pretty tough. Is it Kirin Mage plus Secret, or is it Mana Worm?
I think it's always Kirin. Because 1, now that you've seen the coin, it means coin Flanking Strike is gone. It's out the window, which means you get at least 4 damage. And now the Flanking Strike protects the Kirin, which means you get at least 8 damage. Which is a stupid number.
Not necessarily, though, because the Terrascale Stalker will be able to trade away the Kirin Mage next turn unless Tom draws something to do about it. And actually, Tom's hand is a bit clunky here. Mana Worm doesn't do anything on its own immediately. Fireball would be a big waste dealing with a 3/3.
I think it sounds great.
Fireball dealing with a 3/3?
No, just Anomaly.
Oh, Anomaly, right, sure.
Just play it. What does Hunter do? Puts the 3/3 into Anomaly?
Plays Saronite, yeah.
Well, great, and then your Kirin Tor beats both Saronites. And then you Mana Worm.
Do you not like the idea of
Shooting
Mana Worm
Star.
now and then Cosmic Anomaly Shooting Star next turn to
Well,
deal
yeah,
with the Saronite?
Yes!
With
In the world in which we know their hand, Falk.
Right, but,
Come on.
but as you said, there's 2 of them, and Tom does know the deck list. That's something that
Right.
they have to consider coming down next turn.
But you're putting 6 damage into a 3/3.
And as you said, like Flanking Strike is Flanking Strike more likely next turn though? Like United States have now tested for Mirror Entity, they've tested for Explosive Rune, they haven't tested for Counterspell. I think United States are more likely to play the Saronite next turn.
Right, I mean, if you know your opponent's going to play Saronite, you pass. So you can do the amazing turn next turn with Cosmic Anomaly, of course. But in general, I think just putting 2 4/3s down and saying, well, you can never... 1 4/3 always hits because you just can't keep up.
Yeah.
Is a reasonable play. But they did go for the Mana Worm Ping option.
Maybe I'm overvaluing the Cosmic Anomaly and thinking it's too important that it sticks to the board. But looking at how this has worked out now, it's going to be Saronite into Cosmic Anomaly Shooting Star into then Ziliax to deal with the Cosmic Anomaly, which still leaves the Kirin Tor Mage and the Mana Worm alive. That's the sequence of turns that I'm seeing over the next...
Well, no, because one of them would die now. There'll probably be a value trade into the Mana Worm with this.
Oh, sorry, yeah, of course. Right. So the Mana Worm is actually going to survive, sure.
Now, not too much of a surprise we talked about this turn, and you see the power I mentioned right before the game started of Shooting Star.
Yep.
Is so powerful. That hits 1 more minion as well if it existed.
Ziliax going to be played now, though, almost without a doubt, and trade into that Cosmic Anomaly. But this Mana Worm...
Does it trade into the Mana Worm, though?
No way. Anomaly's too strong. Anomaly just solos this deck. It almost
So does Mana Worm! Mana Worm is the OG Anomaly,
true.
okay?
And it looks like it is about to start soloing this deck, to be fair. We have many secrets. Tom looking pretty good here.
Katharina can be huge if Muzzy can stem the tide.
Yeah, get a Witch Grizzly from that, that'd be nice.
Oh, that's kind of good and kind of not.
We just play the Grizzly now. Obviously, he wants to pick Deathstalker Rexstar,
Right.
but Richwood Grizzly right now would be a 5-mana, 3/11. That would completely prevent the Mana Worm from going face.
It's probably the play that's going to get you there. The Mana Worm is a 3-attack minion at the moment, so Mossy Horror 1 can't be played this turn. 2 doesn't kill it.
Alternatively, he could drop the Saronite Chain Gang and next turn play Rexstar, which would heal him back up whilst clearing the board. I may actually be talking myself around here.
But it's tough though, right? Because
tough.
my issue with Rexstar is it doesn't really win you the game. Right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you've healed for 5, and then do nothing for another 3 turns, and then die.
Well, it would also, in theory, it would also clear the board with the assistance of the Saronite coming down now, dealing 2 damage to each of these minions.
But as you've put no pressure on the mage yet for Chinese Taipei, then it means that United States would have to buy so much more time and look at this answer.
This is
5 to the Grizzly, I'm calling it.
Well,
no, you always trade the game.
Yeah.
I'm joking, of course.
You had me going for a second there, Ian. 5 to the face, calling it? No.
Doing that.
Oh, okay.
There was a moment I saw Tom then go, whoof, whoof. Close. Oh, that's a sick draw.
That's incredible. Sure, plus the
Who
Terrascope
needs
Stalker
flanking strike?
would allow the Terrascope Stalker to go straight into the Mana Worm. However, the United States now only have 10 health, and Deathstalker Rexstar is long gone. They don't have a way of healing back up again.
I think that's fine, though.
Ziliax also gone. A Fireball drawn for Tom next turn will represent lethal.
Already used 1 Fireball, already used 1 of the, what's the one he just used?
Cinderstorm. Please use 2 of them.
Has he?
The first one killed Ziliax.
Oh, right, sure. But now Katharina can get the work done, right? This is just definitely King Crush. Close.
Nice try.
That's the worst one now because there isn't minion pressure left.
Missiles.
There's a lot of health to soak up these missile hits, though.
So what, 1 might go face, 2 if he's very lucky, plus a ping.
So there's 2 turn lethal set up here for Muzzy if Tom doesn't slow this down. So what he's working on here is, what are the odds on him on Chinese Taipei having lethal in 2 turns versus the odds on him having lethal in 3?
Yeah.
-3 damage though with the Frostbolt. You'd have to Frostbolt Katarina.
These turns just haven't quite come together for Tom. It was the lack of a Stargazer Luna or any 2-drop. It meant there was a little hole in his pressure that allowed Muzzy to get back into the game. And
yeah, or Arcane Intellect.
Yeah.
Would have helped.
One went face, okay. And now for Tom, there are so many bad draws in his deck for next turn. Emissaries, anything to do with secrets, a Luneth, Stargazer. Well, I guess Luna could be okay.
Did they spot the play?
What's the plays?
Flanking strike your own 3/11 and then play dead Katarina for King Crush? It doesn't really matter.
Why would they flanking strike the 3/11? I'm missing something obvious here.
Because there's a secret in play they haven't propped yet that can be spellbended?
Of course, yeah. I was missing
Oh,
something obvious.
Team USA don't mess about. They're at least aiming on it so they know it's a thing. Now they kill a 1/3 that doesn't even exist. That's how far ahead they are.
So 22 damage, including the King Crush and the Hero Power.
Still not enough. But it means that even this was the issue with Tom not Frostbolting last turn. Is there are circumstances that lead to you the Frostbolt not being enough the second turn because there's more board development.
Time moves quickly. How long can this go on?
Oh, this is actually better. It plays around Frost Nova.
No! I mean, you said by the time a Luneth is drawn, the game's probably already over. Granted, a Luneth did come a few turns too late, but Tom, he knows.
It's lethal, even if he Frostbolts Katarina.
Yeah, there is nothing
But
he can do.
this turn was nice because it's way better than what I said. It means that if there's a Frost Nova on the board, he can still play dead into King Crush, which helps push some damage, whereas it holds just getting locked out. There's more pressure overall on the board, but Team USA fight back.
They tie up the series, which was important because they'd already lost a favourable, but now winning an unfavourable does make things a little bit more even. When we come back, we have 3 more games to go. Loser of this series is being eliminated from the Hearthstone Global Games. It's going to be Shadowhawk Shaman versus Aggro Mage coming up. So Shadowhawk Shaman versus Aggro Mage coming up next to put one of these teams back in the lead again. And honestly, Raven, I don't know what your perception of this matchup is, but I think it could honestly go either way.
Yeah, it's as with most games of Hearthstone, it can. I feel like the Aggro Mage is slated to be favoured, for me at least. I think Shadowhawk has to do too much in not enough mana's time to slow it down enough. Obviously, there are games where, yeah, you get the early board, you drop a Kaliseth, which contains some of the early minions, you can drop drop Chain Gang on curve, etc., etc. Those games happen, but with Counterspell, with Runes as well, I think the Mage, if played well, can actually just beat it pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean, it's a game that, I mean, again, like with most matchups against Aggro Mage, if it gets to a certain point where the Shaman does stabilize, can start playing the Healing Rains, play the Life Drinkers, obviously Shadowhawk, then at that point it will win. But it can be very difficult for the Shaman to get that far, especially, again, if the Mage gets that Dream Start with the Mana Worms, with the Apprentices, with the Luna, with the Kyunto Mage, and with Cosmic Anomaly. We see Terrence again on the Aggro Mage. He seems to be the resident Aggro Mage player for United States. Ever since all those weeks ago when Terrence was playing from a theme park, that was Aggro Mage. It seems that the team really rely on him for piloting this deck.
Yes, some people just like the decks they like, and they may as well play the ones they're good at or played the most of. It's straightforward as I think. And speaking of the good openings, Chinese Taipei have a pretty good one with Glacial Shard and Saronite Chain Gang. Glacial Shard can stop a Mana Worm, although you wouldn't play it on 1, you'd play it on 2 probably. And yeah, Chain Gang is just going to be nice to get in the way of some of these minion openings that have caused the biggest problem against Mage.
Terrence's start isn't looking that incredible either. Like, obviously turn 2, he can coin up the Kyunto Mage, that's great. Terrence does have the Luneth, but there will be weapon removal in the Shadowhawk Shaman, as there always is. So if Riel can find his Gluttonous Ooze, the Luneth won't be causing him that much grief. I don't know, it's looking like one of those games where if the Shadowhawk Shaman's ever going to win, it might be this one.
Pretty surprised Saronite Chain Gang was thrown though. Look at the difference now. Obviously, it's just funny that Shadowhawk was drawn instead, as you said, but
yeah,
it's just kind of interesting as Chain Gang feels like just a decent card to be able to play on curve.
There is little time.
pretty big that the coin is on the side of the mage. It means that Shaman just doesn't have an easy way to proc a counter spell anymore. And now, speaking of which, Archaeologist, really good pickup there. Something to actually do and get on board. I wouldn't even mind it this turn, to be honest.
It would prevent coining out the Kirin Mage, though. It's very difficult. Like, what do you value more? Do you value having a 2-3 now and then potentially playing nothing next turn? Would you play nothing now and then get the big blowout Kirin Mage counterspell turn coming up? It's a difficult decision. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, the way for me is I feel like you get more attacks in overall, because still pinging isn't bad in a deck that wants to kill your opponent quickly. Yep. So I feel like the coin and Archaeologist gives you more flexibility going forward, which is weird to say using the coin early gives you flexibility. But I think it was okay. Put a 2-3 on the board and start chopping away either these totems, ping them off if it's the on one, get through this taunt. Whereas now, are you now like forced into coining Kirin Tor? Looks like they're holding on to it now.
Okay. I guess maybe they're gonna plan on coining up the Illumeth at this stage.
There's also a chance as well that because the deck runs double healing rain, that playing it slow and steady damage won't cut it.
Yeah.
They need like 1 to 2 turns of high burst, and then that's how they win.
All right,
Cosmic.
It's coming together now. As Terrence can play his Kirin Mage with his counterspell or the explosive. I don't know. I'm liking the idea of counterspell just to try and protect this Cosmic Anomaly, which may well come down on turn 4.
I like the idea of Ruins to bait the testing of counterspell.
Okay.
And then you counterspell with Cosmic Anomaly afterwards.
Yeah, that sounds good. Will Chinese Taipei bite, or will they just play Silent Chain Gang this turn? It's definitely potential. Even Glacial Shard Manatide Totem seems okay. I go with the Soundite. First minion played by Rio.
Silent Chain Gang is going to get chunked through though. It does mean that the big push of started damage is going to kick off pretty soon for Terrence M in the United States. Chinese Taipei just can't decide how they want to do this, and this is why I really like Ruins, because a lot of time with Ruins you can't play around it that well. You could just play what minions you have, right? Whereas if you look, what would you rather play around with this time, Counterspell or Ruins? Well, Counterspell is Earthshock one.
One mana Earthshock,
exactly.
Mana Hex.
For this, you're just going to find out that there's 3 damage to face and a guaranteed kill on the other one with 4 damage more push to face as well.
And that's if the United States even go for the ping this turn. I guess Counterspell Coin Ping is an option, but that feels like a very weak play. Without using the coin, though, there's no way that Terrence really does anything. Could just drop Cosmic Anomaly.
What to do?
Could just Cinder Flame.
What to do?
Coin out the Illumeth turn after.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like the idea of him developing. If he's spending 3 or 4 mana.
The problem is you're developing without the counterspell. You're developing into Volcano turn.
Well, playing Counterspell is also sort of developing itself. And you're right. Like when you take Volcano into consideration, then playing the Cosmic Anomaly does seem pretty bad.
Yeah. This is the overall plan I sort of guesstimate having, because now if the counterspell's either procced, which slows your opponent's turn down, or it's not procced, and then your Cosmic Anomaly is incredibly safe going forward. And there's no rush with it, I don't think. Like, Cosmic Anomaly is great if you play it on curve and it sticks, but against a deck that's unlikely to stick against, it's absolutely fine as a turn 10 play. Cosmic Anomaly, then you can missiles, you know, Cinder Flame that turn and push out tons of damage in one short burst.
Another difficult turn for Chinese Taipei. I'm going to start with the Glacial Shard. Sorry, with the Earthshock. That does explode.
This is super awkward now.
Well, now I guess Hex or Glacial Shard plus Farsight or plus Manatide Totem. So there are still, there are still things they could do. Rio's going to start trying to draw towards his win condition, the Life Drinkers, the Grumble.
Hemet.
And he's playing Hemet. Okay. So Cinderstorm is an option here. Trade in the Arcanologist into the Manatee Totem and then play that. But again, that makes the rest of his turn very weak unless he wants to coin out an Arcane Intellect. Coining out a Luneth still does seem strong. If there's no Ooze in Real's hand, then it just goes off and probably wins the game in 2 or 3 turns.
That's where a Shooting Star would have been awfully nice.
What to do? What to do?
I go with the Luneth plan. It does give them the most options, and as I said, the cards in hand are more to finish the game than just to continue it, and the anomaly helps with that. And now look at this, Sorcerer's Apprentice, there's missiles, another counterspell. These are all the cards they need to really make a gap in which to punch through here.
I mean, it's the crazy Sorcerer's Apprentice Cosmic Anomaly turns after a Luneth that really win at the aggro mage games against any deck, really, given that Terrence has managed to hold back all of these tools.
Also look at this, outside of Lightning Storm, which overloads them on their next turn, how do you deal with 1 health minions when Earthshock's gone as well?
I've just noticed that Terrence running the second counterspell there means that, I guess that's where the flex is being used.
Yeah, that's his 2-drop.
That's his Mana
kind of that I
Addict.
discussed
That's
earlier,
his Celestial Emissary. That's his Flame Geyser. It's the counterspell. Can Chinese Taipei afford to just slam Hemet?
Take another 6. It's time to get real low.
They got a Lightning Storm.
Yeah, that was just a good draw.
Drop the Acolyte as well, yeah, that's ideal for Real. 6 damage to the board. That's something else in the way. That's a real pain for the Cinderstorms. And Ooze picked up to deal with the Luneth next turn.
It's not too bad. I think getting 6 draws out of a Luneth
yeah, sure.
is enough.
But this turn is very awkward for the United States. They don't want to be playing Cinderstorm or Arcane Missiles. They don't want to be drawing cards. So what does that leave them with? It leaves them with Counterspell. That's sort of it.
Maybe they just Fireball face.
Okay. It still leaves 7 cards in their hand. They're drawing 3 and then 1 at the start of the next turn. Ideally, they need to play 2 cards. They don't want their opponent to draw loads of cards.
They could actually just play Apprentice Counterspell.
Yeah, but Apprentice is so good with the Luneth in one of the big blowout turns.
Time runs out on you.
Oh, it's a tough turn. Yeah, you don't have much of a choice. Maybe it survives.
Yeah, I mean, your opponent just had to Farsight into a Lightning Storm to kill off your 1 health minions. Why can they kill off another 1 health minion effectively? Because the Acolyte can trade.
All right, Luna is going to be great once the Ooze gets destroyed, which will be right now. Does that actually survive?
Yeah.
It just does.
Well, could get hexed. Well, it can't.
Can't, but yeah.
We know it can't, but from Chinese Taipei's view.
So it actually...
This is what I'm saying. This is why I think it was a fine turn. It ticks the boxes, plays 2 cards, doesn't draw the opponent more than 1 card.
Yeah, you're right.
And if it does survive, sick.
So...
If anything, it's done him a favour.
So Dream Draw is what? Sorcerer's Apprentice number 2. And then we go Cosmic Anomaly, Fireball, Frostbolt, Cinderstorm, Missiles.
You don't even particularly need Sorcerer's Apprentice number 2. You have 7 mana. You have 3 free. And...
Here's the tricky question, though. Do you favour Cosmic Anomaly this turn, or do you favour Stargazer Luna?
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you need card draw yet, Fal.
So it's Cosmic Anomaly number 1. Then do you Frostbolt an Acolyte to prevent Chinese Taipei from drawing cards? Or are you going to just Cinderstorm and Missiles away and let Rio get everything?
I think you would smoke them.
I think ideally Terrence wants Shooting Star. If he had a Shooting Star to play this turn, that'd be perfect.
We'll make the trade.
Okay, yeah, this is perfect. It allows Frostbolt.
And here comes a lot of damage.
Missiles. Frostbolt deals. Wow, he's trying to protect his board still. It's not going to work because of the 1 mana Hex.
Well, now the turn has to be Hex into Volcano.
Yep.
which is still a bad turn for Chinese Taipei.
Time runs out on me.
There's plenty more damage where that came from. I think this is absolutely fine. The Healing Rain, bit frustrating.
Healing Rain will be great the following turn for real. So Hex into
Might be
Volcano
dead
now.
the following turn.
True.
Oh, close enough.
Yeah. Ah, it's not good, is it?
It's gonna have to be Hex, Volcano, Healing Rain, Volcano.
Just really illustrating the strength of Aggro Mage here. Whew. Still not quite lethal. But if Terrence wants to, he can just play Stargazer Luna, play Fireball, draw another card. Doesn't even need to do that.
Science overwhelmed.
Oh, this is great. Sets up for lethal with the double Fireball. So this anomaly needs to be dealt with, and Rio needs to heal. Two things that Rio can't quite do together because of the Volcano overload from previous turn. Oh, so he can Hex Healing Rain.
Still rough though, isn't it?
Yeah. He'd like to play Healing Rain with Electra. But Hex Healing Rain is clearly the way to go here.
What to do?
Does it work out more damage? Just double Healing Rain, not better?
So it heals Rio back up to 30, but...
Right, and you've seen a lot. You've seen two Arcane Missiles,
You're right.
you've seen two
Cinderstorms.
Cinderstorms, sorry.
We've seen both Frostbolts, I think, one Fireball. Ah, you might be right, actually. The United States are running out of damage. 2 Glyphs, though.
That's true.
That's a scary thought. Glyphs synergize very well with Luna as well. Luna, play the Glyph you just drew. Draw an extra card. Get the cheap spell from the Glyph. Play that. Draw another card.
Well, you have to play the card you drew first.
Oh, that's true.
You've clearly not jammed as much Aggro Mage as I have recently. Gonna go for the Hex and the Healing Rain, playing it as safe as possible. Just saying, you know what? Let's not bother. It's a difference of 7 health. And there's Glyphy.
It's got to be Luna time, though. Even just drawing the one from the Glyph is
ours.
Oh, well, a lot of the time, you're not exactly drawing an expensive spell, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shooting Star.
Frost Nova, Shooting Star, Spellbender are the options here. We can see them.
Looks like a Spellbender to me.
Yeah. There you go.
Shooting Star past its sell-by date in terms of value, at least in this game.
Spellbender can still do some serious work, though. There's the second Shooting Star. I don't think Terrence wants to play that, even just to draw a card. I think you'd rather play an Arcane Intellect. Arcane Intellect plus Spellbender, or whatever gets drawn off the top. Seems good to me.
That's where the game really starts to slow down.
Those cards are in the other way around. Playing Mana Worm now would be great.
Time runs out on me.
It's still good. It's still potentially the way to go. But it'd just be better if it was drawing a card.
Oh, we're about to see Volcano number 2.
Into Life
scary
Taker
there.
as well.
I wonder whether the Spellbender was just better instead of Mana Worm.
It bluffs the counter spell as well. I think that's the.
That's
real
what I'm saying,
advantage
yeah.
to it.
Well, I don't think there's anything left that aims at anyone, right? 2 hexes have been used, haven't they?
Yep, and another shock.
Yeah, so it's not that it's ever going to go off, it's that your opponent has to consider everything.
Yeah.
Which is important because we can see it would have had a large impact here because Volcano becomes the scariest card in the game.
What to do?
Chinese Taipei are very soon just going to be able to drop Shadow Walk. They haven't actually played many Battle Cries this game. I believe 1 Sour Knight Chain Gang, 1 Shard. That's about... Oh, and the Ooze. That's about it.
There is little time.
So yeah, Real safely putting himself back up to 26. There's a Frostbolt left. Thought both have been played.
Liar.
That's 15 damage available right now with the classic.
Right, but I don't think there's much left.
No.
It's minion damage. So now it looks like there has to be a Mana Worm, Kirin Tor,
2 secrets.
Ruins, Frostbolt the 3/3. and try and get there with the minions and the fireballs.
It's a good turn.
We have
Well, it's not the turn you want, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
I think it's pretty good.
Well, you don't really want to frostbot a 3-3 at this point in the game.
But the Mana Worm gets huge as a result. Both Volcanoes have been played. The board is protected. And Rio didn't really draw anything he could play. Like, Hagatha now would be game-winning.
Right.
But he didn't get it. He may have to... No, Acolyte doesn't even draw him any... Well, Acolyte into Healing Rain.
Acolyte draws him, yeah, the one card.
But then, as far as Rio knows, that second secret's a counterspell.
I wonder.
He's seen both, hasn't he?
Yeah, but one came from a glyph. The spell that came from a glyph. So it could be counterspell, could be anything.
But he knows the other one's ruins.
He knows the other one.
So he can draw a card.
So he plays the Acolyte, he draws a card, and then he doesn't know what happens next.
To me.
And then it's just a mystery.
Oh, Storm could be great. And I think they have to play into it. They have to go hero power now, hope for spell damage, go for the Storm. Like, sure, they lose if it's counterspell, but if it's counterspell, they probably lose anyway.
Yeah, Shudderwock's not got enough, right?
It's got one Star Knight, one Shard, one Ooze, one Life Drinker. They got the threes!
Terrence can't believe it. Is this going to be the ultimate Glyph of Doom, i.e., or would it have to be Pyro?
Pyroblast, yeah, Pyroblast. Then, because double Fireball this turn and then Pyro Ping next turn would be lethal. No. These cards are all useless, apart from maybe Shifting Scroll, which is probably useless.
Next turn.
Yeah.
Easy. I mean, you have to, right? The other two are terrible.
Even then, it's not quite a two-turn setup for lethal, because the Shifting Scroll does not retain the mana discount anymore.
What to do? What to do?
Probably Fireball Ping.
Yeah, I think so. There really isn't much damage left in the deck, if any. I can't even think.
There's one Sorcerer's Apprentice.
One Arcanologist and one Runes, I think.
No, both runes have been played, right?
Have they?
One got on the Star Knight early on.
Okay, yeah, true. So, Sorcerer's Apprentice, Arcanologist, +1. Shooting Star number 2, I think. Shooting Star number 2, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Don't recall one being played yet by Terrence. They're just not good cards in this position. It's all down to that Shifting Scroll getting a Pyroblast and Chinese Taipei not healing. But if they're desperate, they can just Shudderwock to heal for 3. And Zola at the following turn. United States can't deal with it. This is looking like it's going to be Chinese Taipei's game.
Lightning can strike twice.
Yeah, they're just getting stuff on the board.
Perfect specimen.
It's the Arcanologist. So, does Terrence play for board here by Fireball Face? Obviously, you're not fireballing a 3/3, but Arcanologist, Shooting Star, Ping the Zola. Even then, the Electra.
Yeah, playing for board when you can't even clear it is a problem.
Yeah. So he has to Ping Face. He has to Fireball Ping Face.
It's not like a 2/3's ever getting him lethal either. Yep, you go for it and hope the scroll does the work for you.
So now Chinese Taipei, on one hand, they may be concerned that that Shifting Scroll is a Pyroblast, but on the other hand, if it was a Pyroblast, then Terrence would have gone double Fireball last turn, Pyro Ping this turn to win the game. So Rio will...
No. Oh, right.
Yeah.
If they picked a Pyroblast from Glyph.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean.
Right.
So, like, Rio won't be playing around necessarily Pyroblast, the card specifically. I wonder if he'll play around Pyroblast from Shifting Scroll.
I think it's more, is there any card he can draw that would make him not play around it?
Right.
I don't think there is.
So, it's going to have to be Shudderwock next turn then. Or Hagatha. If Hagatha's drawn, if Healing Rain's drawn.
Which plays around it, Healing Rain plays around it. So that's what I mean. I don't think there's a card he could draw that isn't a winning card that doesn't make him play Shudderwock if it's not.
Yeah.
If it's not Hagatha, if it's not Healing Rain, he plays Shudderwock. Because you'd be crazy not to, right?
That'll do it. Life Drinker is just as good as Shudderwock for healing him. Gonna go with the Shadow Walk anyway. I mean, Azola has been played, so the Shadow Walk might get added back to the hand.
It's setting up lethal to
Yeah,
a certain
yeah.
extent. Your opponent either kills you in 2 turns or you win, and Shadow Walk accelerates that as much as possible. They're never killing 2 Shadow Walks.
Yep. And Grumble.
Not in a million years.
Grumble can still be drawn by Riel, which would bounce them back. Not that it matters. There's the Fire Blast! Unbelievable!
Oh my God.
That would have just been lethal if Riel didn't heal this turn.
Wait.
You thinking they're still away?
So there's only 15 damage. There's 18 with the Life Drinker.
But there's no damage in the United States deck.
But you can't ping and get there, right? Oh, and
No
there's
way,
the
no
15.
way.
What's his? What did we say his last card was?
Sorcerer's Apprentice, I think.
Wow.
We said his last 3 were Arcanologist, Sorcerer's Apprentice, and Shooting Star.
Savage.
Oh, man.
It's kind of funny, to be honest.
They came so close.
Of all the mage cards available,
Again.
Real's face when that was pointed at his portrait, he was like,
If the Pyroblast came naturally from the glyph, Terrence would have won the game.
oh, and there's Grumble. That's definitely the game over.
This was a tight-knit game of Hearthstone.
That was weird. Is he tested for thingy yet? For Vaporize? Surely he would have attacked with the 3/3.
Good question. I don't know if he
Not
had.
that it even matters, but you look at the relief on Real's face. He's like, okay, I got my win. There's a game done. Chinese Taipei go 2-1 up versus Team USA right now. Very, very close game, but it's kind of what I was saying earlier. It's like, Mage, even at its powerful state, which I think is a good deck right now,
Yeah, I agree.
can still just get beat. Like, it can still just get out-healed. We saw every card used and a Pyroblast. An extra, fresh, new, shiny Pyroblast get used, and it still wasn't enough. Obviously, if it was any other deck, except for Control Warrior or Shadow Walk, becomes much more realistic. So it was a rough matchup in terms of just that healing that was coming out, but still, it's a little bit awkward. I think they played it well, though.
All right, well, the United States are walking a tightrope here. They are 1 game away from being eliminated from the Hearthstone Global Games. Let's take a look at what the next game is going to be. It's going to be AHQ Roger on the Even Warlock versus Frozen on the Control Priest. Now, this is one of those interesting matchups that I want to say it comes down majorly to when the hero cards are drawn. Rexar.
Or when the Giants are drawn.
Well, or when the so Rexar does, not Rexar.
It's like, why are we now talking about Hunter, pal?
Anduin deals with the big minions, and then obviously deals a lot of damage, but Gul'dan heals Rexar. Why do I keep going back to Rexar? Heals themselves back up again. However, as you said, Giants nice and early can make all of the difference. So now I want to ask, what are the defensive tools of the Priest like? Do they have Twilight Acolytes, Cabal Shadow Priests, all of that good stuff?
They've not got the good ones. Well, okay, they have 2 Twilight Acolytes and 2 Cabal Shadow Priests. Pretty decent. Okay. They also, though, have 2 Wild Pyromancers, which is less decent against Even Lock. It doesn't have that much game versus it. Just looking over the Even Lock now, there's 1 Dread Infernal, 1 Mossy Horror, 1 Geist, 1 Bone Mare.
Pretty standard nowadays.
Crazy. There's a Tainted Zealot, which is nice little shiny card, and that's about it, to be honest. So I would say 2 very standard lists. The Acolytes can obviously cause some trouble. One of the weird interactions is Giant into Twilight Acolyte.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is just awkward.
Priest just played a 3-mana 8/2. Sorry, 8/4. That also reduced the opponent's minion by a 6 attack.
Yeah, but then you have like Silence, and then where do you aim the target for Silence?
Yeah,
because
that's
just
great.
a really weird back and forth interaction. It's almost like the mirror where it's like you Giant first, then I Giant a trade, and so on, so on. So cool matchup either way.
So Raven, do you think that USA with the Control Priest are going to be able to keep up?
It's not a matchup I would want to pick into Even Lock, to be completely honest. It's definitely not horrible, but I would much rather be Chinese Taipei right now. Because that Even Lock, I think, is just... It's a reason you see so many people play it. There are people still getting rank 1 with it over the past week or so, and it's just an extremely powerful deck. It's just hard to argue with strong minions, strong card draw, and strong endgame. You know, it kind of ticks the boxes for a deck.
Yep. While we wait for the next game to start up, just a little reminder for everyone, there is a little bit of caster stakes going on in this game, as Chinese Taipei...
Not me, so I don't care.
No, I'm out as well. But Chinese Taipei is one of Derek's teams, and United States is one of Sotel's teams.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot Sol picked USA.
His whole Hearthstone is coming home, but home is the USA in
Right.
Hearthstone. Spiel.
Ah, Sol's not here. Who cares? Sol's already lost. Let's get into the game though. Frozen's going to be piloting the Priest, and Roger on the Warlock. Frozen does have that Twilight Drake early on, but again, the frustration is, yeah, Twilight Drake's sick. If your opponent's already got a Mountain Giant down, it looks less good. No, it's not quite the power play it once was.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, Spellbreaker is an interesting card as well for Chinese Taipei. Obviously, that very easily deals with Twilight Drakes, which the
throw it all, get Giants.
Yeah,
Easy.
yeah, I agree. Oh, Skulking Geist is interesting as well, though. Just ditching this Powered Shield. Probably not good enough to hold on to.
No.
There are a lot of nice tools in this Even Lock deck for dealing with the Control Priest.
Look, if all goes to plan for Team Chinese Taipei, won't get to turn 6. You turn 3 Giant, you turn 4 Giant. They're dead in 2 turns.
Right.
GG. Although now the Acolyte and a Dragon proc means that there is some interaction that United States can do with the Giant play. If Giants
We
even
have
get drawn,
turned our
which
curse
they have done so
into
far.
our strength.
Job's done.
Looks like it's going to be a tapping game for Chinese Taipei, at least in the first couple of turns. And they have that Bowmare that people have been favouring a little bit lately, and there are targets in the deck that make the Bowmare a bit more viable than it used to be. Mossy Horror being one of them. You end up with like a 2/6 sort of dude that just hangs around
It's really good,
for
yeah.
a lot of the time.
Comes a, what, 6/10?
Yeah.
Pretty nuts.
With Taunt, of course, so...
Yeah.
You know, you normally play Mossy Horror against normally aggressive decks, and then you get to build a Taunt on top of it, so... Players taking it slow. Tippity tap, tap, tap.
Another draw. That's not a Giant. Alright, tap again. Giant on turn 3 is still possible.
Also as well, even a Spellstone to pair with that Homunculus isn't the end of the world. Get an easy buff there.
I don't think there's any reason to just throw down the Homunculus this turn.
Possibilities.
Wow. Don't play the Ooze. Playing around a potential Cleric played, I guess? Pyromancer? I don't know.
Acolyte of Pain.
Oh, sure, okay. That makes sense. And now, Frozen has to work out if it's worth playing one of his cards. By one of his cards, I mean Twilight Acolyte, as that's the only playable minion.
Oh, Acolyte's way too good.
Yeah, agree.
Easy tap though, Vulgar Homunculus as a backup. No Spellstone, unfortunately for Team Chinese Taipei, but still pushing some nice damage now, and suddenly this Twilight Drake has to get through a 2/4 and then get to the 3/2, and once your Twilight Drake starts just trading away, its high health pool actually makes it very good for that, but you're always on the back foot because you don't normally go too wide with this Priest deck.
But no Giant, no Twilight Drake for Chinese Taipei. It's not the start that even Warlock hopes for. It is the start that the Priest hopes that the even Warlock gets. Alright. It's fight time.
This isn't too bad though.
It's
The coin into Dread Inferno for the extra point of damage might actually end up being decent.
It's okay, but when an even Warlock start is okay, I don't know. I guess it's not
it
the
looks
most
like the
important.
winning to me felt.
Yeah, it's not the most important matchup for getting that huge aggressive start, I guess.
Because all I see here is the trade into the 2/4, and then if the Twilight Drake is healed, well, that's 2 mana of your opponent's turn, which means a 3 mana play is relatively weak, if non-existent.
Yep.
If it's not done, then the 4/4 goes in with the coin Dread Inferno to kill the Twilight Drake, and you end up with a 3/2 and a 6/6 on the board versus nothing.
Is there a Dustbreaker replay here? I don't
Is
think there
someone
is.
injured?
No. Just going for the heal plays. Does a nice job of cycling. But again, the 4/4 into the 1/5 and then coining out the Inferno looks pretty nice.
Or just trade both minions into the Twilight Drake. Depends how badly Roger wants to remove that cleric. Like, I guess there's not really a better target to use the coin on. Like, coining out Dread Infernal now is pretty strong. Skull King Geist to follow up next turn. Or Gen, I guess. One Powered Shield has already been played.
So many possibilities.
Yeah, funny enough, I feel like you get punished more if you leave the cleric up versus the 4/7.
Yeah.
Because you could just, you've still got 3 minions wide. You've got 4/3, a 3/2, and a 6/6.
Yeah. 6/6.
Sorry, a 3/1 because the damage at 4/2.
The
1 damage
6/6
from me.
contests with the Twilight Drake, which is
Yeah.
pretty nice. Yeah, I agree with you. And it looks like Chinese Taipei.
They're already, you know, Chinese Taipei are actually putting on a lot of pressure now. There's Psychic Scream, but often if your priest is Psychic Screaming and not following up with Anduin, which we see they can't, you're not really okay with it. It's like, okay, slow the game down. I'm just going to keep life tapping.
Dustbreaker's looking really strong here, though. It allows the United States to clear everything. Yes, they lose their Twilight Drake as well, but they end up with a 3/3 on the board. Roger ends up with nothing. And realistically, when do they ever get a better Duskbreaker against even Warlock?
Meddlesome insects.
Yeah, the answer is they don't.
Yeah.
Or after a cooldown, I guess.
Look at the heal.
Oh, wow.
This is way better. I was going to say,
Yeah.
leaving just a 3/3 on the board really feels bad.
This is equally weak to Hellfire, but I think there was very little reason to not play the Divine.
You get the heal, right? The cleric's
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
anyway, so why not?
And if Chinese Taipei are playing Hellfire here, what else are they doing? Just tapping? They
Again, though, this is weird where I actually think you look at Gen instead.
Nah.
Why? Gen dies to both minions. Sick.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Because now tap
But-
Hellfire leaves, you know, a similar situation where if the board's traded away, then it's just empty anyway.
But again, my question to you is, when does Hellfire get better against
When you
this
double
deck?
Hellfire lethal them,
I wonder.
it's 9 damage from hand with a Gul'dan hero power. Come on.
True. He's still dealing the damage if he Hellfires this turn, just dealing it a little bit early.
It's not how it works with a character that can heal.
I don't know. Both Divine Hymns played. Frozen's only going to be healing for 2 per turn anyway, and if he doesn't get up to max, then the damage still counts. But yeah, Roger ends up with having already tapped, doesn't end up with much choice.
Yeah,
He
once
has to
you've
play the
tapped.
Hellfire here.
It's not going to be a Zealot pass, is it?
Surprise! United States are running Benedictus in their priest. I don't think it makes too much of a difference, though. It's a 4/6 that can be played this turn.
You can also play like, what, 4/7?
Twilight Drake, yeah.
And still have 3 mana to heal. I think you don't play it. You want Anduin. You want Mind Blasts.
Yeah.
You want Shadow Visions.
Yep.
You want to get to actually killing your opponent. Because if you play a game that long, I don't think you're really going to gain much from it. I mean, 4/6, fine.
Yeah, I'm going to play this now to save the Twilight Drake so that it can be played for a much higher tempo play, maybe with another 4-drop later on.
Also, procs Primordial Drake, and it means that if Primordial Drake's forced to come down, you've still got proc for the Twilight Acolyte. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Keep the Dragon synergy going if you make this Geist play, which is a pretty similar minion. So another turn in which Gen could just be, as he's often called, fine. Not great, not bad, just okay.
Not quite Baku quality.
No.
A little bit better than that.
I wonder if they'll ever update the character art.
The heroes?
Well, Anduin's like well older now. Current WoW lore. It's the king of Stormwind.
Ah. I don't know. It would seem strange with releasing alternate hero skins to then also update the originals.
So many.
So release updated versions that are separate then.
Yeah, maybe.
Up-to-date Anduin.
But I think classic Hearthstone heroes are definitely iconic to a point.
Some Geist on Geist action. No, there can just be a clean kill with the Primordial Drake and the Geist.
They could be. It would clear Frozen's own minion too, but I don't think that matters too much. Doesn't fare well against Lich King that can come down next turn. For
Unless you
Taipei.
just play Primordial Drake and go face.
I think I prefer that. Yeah, I prefer that. That's much better against Lich King or a Mountain Giant or something. I'm also looking at Twilight Drake, Twilight Acolyte as a very strong tempo play this turn. Puts the most attack and health on the board.
I must consider.
Whilst weakening the Skulking Geist.
I think they're really powerful targets for Acolyte. That's the struggle there, right?
It's true.
Like, there's so many high health, high attack minions, especially when a Bone Mare's being ran.
And again, the Lich King that I keep mentioning, like if the United States does just go face here and Lich King comes down, Twilight Acolyte sort of deals with the problem.
Right. And the free attack there is free damage that you just can have. There's not many things that punish you for it, and also you're nowhere near the Hooked Reaver total of 15, which means you're never really getting dealt with. I mean, we can see that Hellfire Hooked Reaver can proc it, but it also kind of does nothing. Doesn't clear any of the minions. Bone Mare though, that's the counterplay.
Strength Bone Mare. You mentioned it with Musty Horror. Well, it's also pretty strong on a Skulking Geist. United States have picked up their second Mind Blast, so they won't be getting one from Shadow Visions, but that is 10 damage whenever they want it.
I mean, most importantly, Acolyte trade.
Yeah,
Play the Drake.
That's just so strong.
Well, Drake Acolyte trade now that you've got Alexstrasza.
So strong.
And then get him. You'll end up with an 8-4, a 4-2, and a 4-3, 6, 4-7 versus a 5-5.
And vitally, Roger won't be able to tap down to the 15 health range. If he wants to play Hooked Reaver as a 7-7, he'd have to Hellfire first.
It's a very solid turn.
Is this the comeback that the United States needed in this series?
They actually stole the Bone Mare attack, left it the other way. I don't know, there's still Hellfire, there's still the Spellstone, there's still Defile, there's still Silence.
There's that Spellbreaker picked up for that interesting interaction that you were talking about earlier. I don't think it comes down this turn though. Spellbreaker would be much better on the Twilight Drake anyway.
I wonder.
Spellbreaker the Drake, trade the Bone Mare into the Acolyte, Defile. It would clear everything, including the Spellbreaker.
I wonder if you just
not ideal.
Tainted Zealot, Defile, and then just play a Hooked Reaver and just say, you know what, whatever.
I wonder.
Maybe that looks okay.
Almost out of time.
I'm a fan of just dropping Hooked Reaver sometimes, even if they're 4/4s. Play around Anduin.
Many possibilities.
Let's do something quick. Drop Lich King. Doom Pact, not really the one you're looking for in this matchup.
Oh, and just after the Twilight Acolyte gets played, Cabal Shadow Priest gets picked up. This may have to be a Psychic Scream turn, Raven.
Hmm?
Would you prefer Cabal Shadow Priest on the Bone Mare?
Yeah, steal the Bone Mare, heal it up, trade in, kill the Lich King.
Yeah.
Move on with your life.
I like that a little bit more now, thinking about it.
Yeah, put 6 power onto the board. Your opponent's only on 18 and you have double Mind Blast. Alexstrasza as well in hand. I think that's fine.
Oh, if United States had just drawn Anduin, like any turn by now, it would have been played. The Mind Blast would be representing practically lethal.
Your bias is sneaking through, Falk.
My bias for
Yeah,
the
you
USA
want
winning.
USA to win, yeah. Ah, if only.
Well, no, it's just fun to think about. Like, there's 1 or 2 cards.
Fun to think about the team you want to win winning.
I'm not Team Sartle, Raven.
I think there's only Sol that's truly Team Salty.
Anything, I'm Team Derek. If anything more than that, I'm Team Falcone.
Except the Alexstrasza is going to be put down for the added pressure there. Instead of there being a 4-5 and a 2-3, that's just going to be an AA on the board and say, actually, deal with this.
It's one minion, but it's tough to deal with, and that Spellstone still hasn't been buffed up yet. So Hellfire Spellstone would deal with the Alexstrasza, but it would also leave Roger with no minions on the board. Roger was hovering over Hooked Reaver there. Hooked Reaver into what?
I wonder.
It's kind of a nice play by United States. I wonder if they've thought about just the Gul'dan this turn.
I wonder.
Because then they can just Cabal the 2-4.
Yeah.
2-4 and a 6-6. They can Cabal the 2-4 and then just go face for 8, which is obviously a big deal. Puts your opponent back down to 12.
There's the answer to the question I asked. Hooked Reaver into what? Well, trade away, so you only mill one card, play the Dark Pact, then just play a 4-mana 7-7. I wonder what the hesitation is there.
Yeah, 7-7 looks good to me.
Oh, considering tapping, sure. I'm going to just quickly check if the United States run a Holy Fire or not.
Do I think, yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh no, it must have been a different list I was looking
Because
at
if they did run Holy Fire, then I guess they could even without
yeah, it's Chinese Taipei that run the Holy Fire in there.
Gotcha.
I was close. I knew I'd seen it.
I wonder.
That's where it starts to get a little bit tricky for the Priest and for Team USA, because everything they want to do now takes a whole turn.
Yeah. Wow, not even going to wait for Andrew. And the United States have decided we're under so much pressure. Our hand is so full of garbage that we need to be just drawing some better cards. Unfortunately, Gul'dan won't be one of them.
Here comes the push now, and with every single turn that passes, this is going to get harder and harder and harder to kill. And now, Team USA almost certainly have to be Psychic Screaming this turn, along with a North, well, maybe not even a North Shack, along with just a heal.
So do they trade Benedictus into the 7-7 first? Or do they just let Roger have it?
I wonder.
I think they trade it. I
think you trade it because there's a strange place in which you can survive long enough for fatigue to make an impact.
Right.
Do you want to remove that fatigue chance? Probably not. So yeah, you probably trade it. Then you're not diluting the deck enough because they're going to just draw demons.
Must consider.
But they are going to heal out the range of Hooked Reaver being buffed, so maybe it's fine. Yeah, you've got to give them the Cleric, I think.
Sure. It gets frozen a card and also puts a bad card in Roger's deck.
But now this is just free reign. Drop double Spellbreaker this turn if you really want, Roger.
There is.
Play it all.
I mean, there is a possibility that Roger runs out of cards in his hand at some point. He can't tap anymore.
What they need to do is dodge the 2-drops, though.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they play the Beals, because there's no reason to, right? That you know your opponent plays 2 Cabal Shadow Priests.
Yep.
Why play into them?
Yep.
When you clearly got them on the back foot. They don't have Anduin, they would have played it by now. They could have sniped a 7-7 and a 6-6. You know they don't have Anduin, you know they don't have a way to win the game, so now just put your foot down and get those 4-4s or 4 attack minions on the board.
It gets difficult to play around everything now, actually, because of the amount of cards taken from Chinese Taipei's deck with the Benedictus.
Right.
Like, they have to be thinking about what came from their own deck. As you can see, Twilight Drake, this one came from the Benedictus.
Let me change your mind.
It's lethal.
It is lethal. Hellfire, Hero Power, 8 damage on the board. That is it.
Well, they need the Zealot, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they need to, the Zealot.
So it's a little bit harder to spot than you'd think, but there you go. Congratulations, Raven. But more importantly, congratulations to AHQ Roger and Team Chinese Taipei. They have eliminated the United States from the Hearthstone Global Games. Roger looking very excited about that, and so he should be. They will be playing against Singapore tomorrow for their spot at BlizzCon.
Yeah, and it's a big deal as well because, you know, you saw the excitement on Roger's face, and I'm sure USA are extremely disappointed to be knocked out. They are the bit leaders by approximately 18 billion bits. But I will say that this is just the beginning of the comeback for Chinese Taipei. They're not at BlizzCon at the finals. That was the losers match, which means they have one more match to win before they even get to the finals.
Let's take a look one more time at the series that we just witnessed. It was 3-1 for Chinese Taipei, who only lost the Aggro Mage into the Hunter, which again was looking like a good game for them. Chinese Taipei really on a tear here. And again, we're talking about the team that does contain the current world champion of Hearthstone, Tom60229. But losing the United States, just saying, Muzzy, Terrence, and Frozen. What phenomenal Hearthstone talent we have there.
Yeah, they're, you know, as we quite well know by now, some of the best players in the world, and it's, you know, they didn't start off well in global games, but they fought back enough to get to top 16, which is a great performance. They probably made a nice chunk of additional earnings from the cheers and the bits that have come with a huge support, Americas and everyone around the world that I'm sure have been supporting Team USA.
And I'm sure you guys are going to just keep cheering them on right until BlizzCon, even though they're out. Way back when, game number 1, there was the Lethal with the Valspine, the Blood Knight, Shaxi having everything he could possibly want against the Tog Druid. Yeah, it was just aggression and more aggression. Nothing the United States could do there.
Yeah, it ended up where Saiyan just got a little bit too far behind and couldn't make that one big push turn to stabilize. And then we move on to the win. The one win that USA actually managed to get was versus the Aggro Mage, where there was, as you can see, a pretty empty hand up at the top side for Chinese Taipei, and then enough oomph and enough power coming through from the Katharina turn, from the Houndmaster turn as well, to safely make it into the next game. We
did soon see King Crush hitting the board. It wasn't lethal right now, but it was the guaranteed 2-turn setup. And unfortunately, Chinese Taipei's final draw was the Aluna, which wasn't going to do anything. Then it was the Shadowhawk Shaman versus the Aggro Mage. And Rio worked really hard here to survive against the onslaught of mage damage, which just eventually petered out.
Yeah, even a shifting scroll into the, you know, the long shot pyroblast, which did happen for Terrence M, which was the shout from the Glyph. It's a long road to get to that pyroblast, but it wasn't enough, as it was just a turn or so too late, and it was managed to just stabilize. And I think that lightning storm was a big part of that as well. You can see Reels getting pumped for that one as it hit for 3s, and that was needed. Look at him, he's on 3 health right there. Imagine if those minions didn't die, he would be dead.
Yeah, there was all sorts that could have gone wrong for Chinese Taipei at that game, but they did take it down. And finally, the Even Warlock versus the Control Priest. As you could see, Zealot Hellfire Hero Power was the lethal Roger needed. And one more time, the United States have been eliminated from the Hearthstone Global Games.
And Chinese Taipei continue to battle on throughout the group. One more match is going to be the decider. So you saw how tense they were fighting to not be eliminated. The next match you're going to see them tomorrow. They're going to be fighting for that spot in the finals.
Oh, it's getting really interesting here with the United States eliminated, Ukraine close to being eliminated, Czech Republic eliminated. Last year's finalists, South Korea gone as well. Last year's finalists falling by the wayside. Let's take a look at the current group, at the current bracket for this group. Let's see what we need to see now. New Zealand were the winners. Singapore will be playing against Chinese Taipei. Only one spot remaining at BlizzCon. These two teams will be battling it out. I believe it will be the first match tomorrow.
It's going to be a big one. I'm interested to see what Chinese Taipei actually, how well they do and how well Singapore deals with it as well, because suddenly instead of, oh, it's part of the Swiss stage, or, oh, it's part of initial groups, it's, no, it's this match, you're either in or you're out, and that's it. And that is a huge amount of pressure to put on the team.
Now, I'm hoping that the production team and admins have had time now to work out what's going on with the schedule for it turns out they haven't had enough time to work out what's going on for the rest of this week. So we're going to just remind you about HGG Cheer very quick while they're on the case. HGG Cheer is a way that you can support your teams, both those still in the tournament and those not in the tournament. Up above the Twitch player, you can purchase some bits. You can use the bits in Twitch chat to support your favorite team. Donate however many bits you'd like, and these are the rewards that you get. If you donate your bits, if you donate the full 2,500, then you get everything you can see on screen here. And you can, of course, donate more than 2,500 if you'd like to.
Yep, you can just keep going, and there are stretch goals as well, effectively, where the whole community, see that number at the top, 18.4 million there. As that continues to grow, we unlock more stuff for everyone. So I think the next one is 2 packs for everyone as well.
Yeah, 18 million was the next stretch goal. So we just hit that today. I guess we will very soon find out what the next stretch goal was. But the United States, Netherlands, both eliminated the top 2 teams when it comes to cheers. So you guys, I would encourage you to cheer for the teams that are still in the tournament, especially while their games are going on. United Kingdom versus Hong Kong will be one of the decider matches coming up tomorrow. Ukraine also competing for their chance to stay in the competition.
Yeah, cheers super important for these teams as well, because it feels weird saying cheers all the time because it's something I do say as a thank you. But yeah, it's really important for these teams in not only do they're playing to entertain, but also for the prize money for the global games, and this all effectively gets added to their own like personal prize money for the tournament as well. So it's a big deal if you can help support those players. They've worked pretty hard for weeks and weeks and weeks. Trust me, you guys have been there, so you guys know. And I think they're deserving of at least some level of support. Any bits you can scrounge up.
Okay, I've just been informed by the production team that the schedule is now ready for tomorrow. If they could kindly tell me what time we're starting tomorrow as well, that would be great. But the first match is going to be Chinese Taipei versus Singapore, then Hong Kong versus the United Kingdom. Following that, we have Brazil versus Portugal, and then Norway versus Ukraine. These are all going to be decider matches. Every single game is winning in for BlizzCon. Lose is out. We're starting at 2:30 p.m. CEST tomorrow. I had to get that double checked because usually on a Wednesday we start at 4 p.m. Chinese Taipei versus Singapore is going to be before our regular schedule. So make sure you check in an hour and a half early if you want to catch all of the games. But Raven, that is us finished for today.
It is, yeah. It was a relatively long day for everyone, for the players and for us, but there was a lot of crazy matches going on, and these are the important days. We've spent a fair few weeks in global games getting to this point for these teams, but these, as you said, especially tomorrow, are the decided games. Every team you saw in there, half of them are going to be at BlizzCon, half of them are not. That's the way it is.
That is crazy. I cannot wait for tomorrow's game. So come back and join Raven, Derek, and myself tomorrow as we walk you through the last games in the group stage of the Hearthstone Global Games. We'll see you then.